Today, my guest is Dr. Amm Tsung. She is a NASA flight surgeon, emergency and critical care physician, and elite performance advisor. She cares for astronauts on space missions, led life-saving work in the ER, and coached top leaders through her Productivity MD platform, all while raising 2 young children. She's also a keynote speaker, podcast host, and a real estate investor, proving that high performance isn't just about doing it all. It's about doing what mattered the most to you. In this conversation, Anne shares her mindset for operating under extreme pressure, creating focus in chaos, and building a life anchored in purpose and family. Anne, thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tanya, for having me. Super excited.
Oh my God, it's so nice to have you here. You have so many competence and so many traits. I feel that hour won't be enough, but we're going to start with this for today.
Thank you.
So let's just dive in right away. Your career spanned from the ER medicine, space mission, Antarctica, and high performance coaching. And yet, what is standing out is how intentional you've been about designing your whole life. I wonder, how did you stay connected to your why? Because it feels as there's so many of them while moving through such a high pressure environment.
Yeah, I think that's a great question in terms of my why, because it changed throughout, my life. When I was young, my why was actually survival. So because I immigrated here with my mom when I was 9 years old, single mom, they were divorced when I was a baby. So my entire childhood, my mom worked a lot. So my emotional voice that comes on a lot of times is I'm alone. And I have to do everything myself because I was left alone many times when she's at work, she's working as a server, etc. Or sometimes she even left me. I still, to this day, I don't know why, but I lived with my aunt for a year and a half. And I don't know why. I asked her, she said she was working. Like, okay. The initial thought is it's just my mom and I, and really it's just myself. So I have no choice but to succeed. That there's nobody else, and if I don't succeed, then my mom's hard work, there's nobody as a backup financially. And that's why I dove into the target of medical school for financial security, and also it's a way for me to help people, like truly help people every single day. And so that was the original why, I would say. For the most basic human need is survival, financial security. And then later on, my whys of wanting more control, more freedom, my time, the 5 freedoms, the geographic freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, etc. It kind of navigated to that, diving into Tony Robbins, more of a mindset work. And now my why has shifted to my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old, creating lasting memories with them, having a passionate 3D relationship with my husband. So it's all about more relationships now as my why, and to have control to create those memories.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. And the progression is also very interesting because for knowing you for a little bit now, I feel that even if you went away from that survival, it's still part of what we do, right? Especially you as a physician, it's still part of how you will think and then readjust. All these whys feel that they're all intertwined and they're not necessarily one and then let go. And especially as we move into motherhood, it becomes, okay, now you're a mom, next, now this happened, next. And it's not always true.
Yeah, I would say, then it's more of the action. It's a progression. But my initial why, I would say, is for financial security. I would say no to bachelorette parties, birthday parties, weddings, even friends coming to visit. I would pick up extra shifts and work because of the money. And then there was a transition of this realization that relationship is actually more important. My mom, the relationship between my mom and I, people, my friends. So the transition was, now I say no to things after. I say yes to friends and family, and I would say no to anything after a certain period of time, or after 5 or something like that, which led me into this one of the main driver for me, trying to max out efficiency so I can finish everything early so I can spend time with people I love. And now it's even more important with the kids to really say no to even like structuring like certain days of non-negotiables, etc., to have everything delegated, outsourced as much or automated as much as possible. So it's about what you say no to and what you say yes to. That changes depending on the progression of your why.
Yes, and they're difficult because sometimes it feels like a sacrifice, while sometimes it's not necessarily a sacrifice in the sense of I'm depriving myself. It's more I'm choosing because I'm offering my energy in another direction. I think that it also comes with guilt. So it's important, as you say, that we redirect and readjust as the why change. You know, early on in your career, do you feel, because it's a very competitive field. Everything you've been doing is very unique. Did you feel that you were chasing success until something shifted and then you were chasing how you can align what you want?
Yeah, I think if you can see my wall across from me, it's all certificates because I was chasing certificates of like, that's why.
Oh, we can't see.
I know, I know. That's why it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, in front of you.
In front of me. Yeah, it's like 10 certificates. Initially, I was chasing certificates because in the Asian culture, that's like a definition of success. Words that keep running through my head is how can I succeed? How can I succeed? How can I succeed? Repeat your second question again in terms of like transitioning from success to,
How do we go from like chasing, because as a high achiever,
yeah.
chasing that success and ideal of success, and then you're like, okay, but my success need to align with my blueprint, with who I want to be, what do I want to do. But sometimes these two can be either very opposite direction or confused, right? Like we'll talk about the motherhood and the kids, while certificates, so, and the certificates can make you more valuable at your work, or you know, give you opportunity, and then it makes you feel more stable and more secure, so you provide as a mother, for example. But then it also go the other way around, being like, because I'm chasing all these certificates, then I don't have time with my kids. So how did you go from all in one direction, extremely successful, achieving so much, to making that shift? How this happened? How do we recognize that moment and agree with it?
I think I would say the big push was after ayahuasca ceremony. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. Tell us more. Tell us more, because again, this is kind of a taboo, right? You have the ayahuasca people and you have the anti-ayahuasca people, and they're usually not physicians.
I would say, because we were traveling, my husband and I were traveling, doing our 8-month around the world trip. We call it our first mini retirement. We were in Ecuador, near the Amazon forest. So an ayahuasca ceremony at that time was what pushed me. First, you know, I had these thoughts of regret, like I didn't go to my grandma's funeral in Taiwan because I had to work as a fellow, and it was like nobody can take my shift. It was crazy to me to think that way. Like, of course you can, people can cover you. You're not that important. An attendant can cover you. You can go away for a week. Yeah. It's your grandma's funeral. But at that time, I was like, no, I can't go. I gotta work. I'm scheduled. So at that time, I was having images of my grandma coming to forgive me for not going, and just, you know, having thoughts like it's not too late. All the guilt that comes back, like, you know, my friends came to visit me, I decided to work, or all the missed events, celebrations, that, you know, weddings. I even missed a wedding. I said it's not too late. From now on, everything forward, I will say yes. If it's a relationship thing, if it deepens connection, I will say yes to. So I would say that was the first like impetus to the change. And then later on, having kids, I would, even after having kids, I was like, oh yeah, after postpartum, I got all the time. I'm gonna be on maternity leave. I can scale my business. This is great. And then I still didn't get the message fully, but I think I would say the impetus of the first child was that I think he was maybe 2 or 3 months old, and I was more stressed about him. Why can't he just go to sleep? Because I still have a podcast guest bio that I need to read, or a client form I need to review, because I took 2 weeks off of like client advising. And I think it was at that time, no, I don't think it shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be rushing like spending time with my newborn because of my business activities. And there's something called the wabi-sabi principle, where life is always changing, it's impermanent, it's never perfect. And I just really wanted to focus on the present, because at this moment, he's going to change so fast that I'm going to miss it. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does, and you're bringing so many beautiful pieces as well that are. It's very complete because your journey, like everybody's journey, is never just A to B. I mean, it's in your head. You're hoping to go from A to B, but then there's so many ups and downs, and that distance feels like it should have been, I don't know, days or weeks, and it's years because you make detour, you learn something, you take things with you, you let go of other things until you think you're reaching the destination, and when you reach it, well, you didn't reach anything. You just became somebody. And if you don't mind sharing, because I think the next adventure that you and your family will be taking on is wonderful, because you're taking a sabbatic. You're disappearing almost for the world in the world for a year. Can you tell us, like, what are you going to do? What is going to happen?
I would say that is maybe another transition in my actions, because you know, I scheduled out my days of non-negotiables. I want to do like 5 out of 10 child pickups. I want to have all weekends free. I have, you know, non-negotiable like 5 to like 8 p.m. free to spend with my kids. But that's still not true control and not true freedom. And I always wanted to do our second mini retirement. I always wanted to take my kids a year around the world, because I feel like, you know, by the time they're 5, they form their emotional intelligence. That's how they learn, you know, like feelings and resourcefulness and courage. By the time they're 7 or 8, a lot of that is formed. And I know that because, you know, I went through these like ceremonies and retreats, and I realized where it all came from. It's all like events from my childhood. So the time I feel like is running out with my 1 and 3-year-old. Maybe my 1-year-old's okay, but my 3-year-old's like, dang, I have 2 years to build up his emotional intelligence. Because I feel like if you have the EQ, then that's a huge resource that will help you navigate through the world, or whatever the world throws at you. Anyway, so it took me, it was years that I've learned about this Boundless Life program, where they provide with the Montessori education, furnished homes, and co-working space at different countries that you go to. And it's usually a 3-month cohort that you move, 20, 30 families in that cohort. So it gives you that community. They're in countries like Tuscany, Italy, Portugal, Greece, Spain, Montenegro, Uruguay, and Bali. And I've always wanted to do it, but I was too afraid to let go of my titles, expectations, my work at NASA as a flight surgeon, right? And I was on mission at the time when I learned about it. So I think the time has come where I am off mission. I'm back from my second maternity leave, and I just keep thinking about it, that work will always be there. But if I don't ask for time with my kids to create these memories, my kids are too small to ask themselves. So it's up to me to show them that mom had the courage to ask for what she's always dreamed of, to ask for what she wants. And if you don't ask, then you will never get an answer, either a yes or a no. We have these dreams that we never have the courage to ask. And I went in there fully prepared I was prepared to have to resign, because I knew that maybe the job won't be there when I come back. But when I asked for the 1.5-year sabbatical, the answer was that I can keep my status and affiliation. I basically turn into an as needed status. And then when I return, then I talk to my manager, and then we see what's available. But there's no there's no resignation, there's no losing anything. And now other commercial space companies can hire me in addition to NASA. So it almost went better than I expected. And it's been, I would say, only a week since my last full-time day at NASA, a week. And I'm working some like brick and mortar ER shifts, which is another thing I'm kind of navigating through transition. But I was saying only yesterday and today was the first time I had a sense of what it's like to not have, you know, meetings or text messages like the corporate world, and having another thing to manage, having the full control freedom by time. And I would say it's like amazing. Like yesterday we went to go watch Jurassic Park as a date at 12:30 p.m. just because, and I got so many things done, and I hit vitality, I hit like relationship, I hit like business, I hit like all personal like recovery stuff in one day.
You must feel amazing.
Yeah, and the Krav Maga today was great. And then 4 hours of like business, like, you know, all business today that's scheduled.
Yeah.
So
I think you're bringing a great point when you say, because I hear often, enjoy your vacation because you're not going to have any. It's not going to be the same, which is true, but it sounds negative. And or don't go to that place with your kids when they're young because they're not going to remember. And I think that's the most awful, because yeah, they don't remember per se as a memory, but you build the nervous system, you build the resilience, their curiosity. Like you say, you regulate their nervous system, but also you install trust and curiosity. So these trips that they don't remember per se are still going to build who they are as a foundation. And you decided to take that on, no matter what the consequences. And there's not as many consequences as you thought they could be. So you get the pros and the cons. I guess you had this conversation also with your partner, and you get the pros and the cons, and you're like, okay, this can go that way, this can go that way, but this is where, no matter what, we're going, and look how it unfolds. And you know the expression, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. And it is just so courageous that you took that step. And now you will spend the next year and a half traveling the world with your two kids. Things that it's so unbelievable and exciting.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think we're going to plan for a few months, so we're going to probably leave the next year. And it just, I had a backup plan of working in the ER for a few shifts, but really I think is when I found the solution of doing telemedicine. I'm going through a 6-month telemedicine cohort where it helps me getting licensed in all 51 states. So I will be able to work when I'm traveling as well. And that's really what allowed me to be able, just finding solutions to solve real problems of finances and logistics. Another thing is like people, like the kids won't remember those memories, but they will feel the joy, the excitement, the closeness of us as a family adventuring together. They will be more open when they're exposed to more experiences, different foods, different architecture, things like that, like different sights and sounds, languages. So yeah, they won't remember it, but the feeling will be there and will set us up as a close-knit family, even in their adult life.
You're creating neural pathways in their brain. You're structuring your brain. The same way when we practice different languages, we have different ways of saying one things, and the brain will think in different ways. It gives you more of that flexibility. You're helping the neuroplasticity of the brain in their development. You're just like putting that on extra speed. And so how would you define resilience? And not just as a concept, but as something you lived in your own life, because I feel you're the definition of it. So what does it mean to you?
It is at the basic level, no matter what comes at you, no matter what situation is, I can do it, or I can get through it, or I can find the help to get through this. I can find the person to help me through this. But it's never like the world is over. Or this is over, or I'm going to lose money forever. Like, I don't go down that spiral. I think it's more of like self-efficacy, no matter like there's ways to build resilience, and I can share with you like how I think I built mine, the progression. But by doing hard things, well, actually backing up, I would say working at a young age, at 9 years old, then 15 years old as a server and bartender, progressing, just working at a young age, that started building the resilience and just learning like the EQ and managing the adult world. That gave me the self-efficacy coming out of that, I can do anything. If I can get through this, I can do anything. And if you translate it to maybe other real world situations, I put myself in like a self-hazing situation almost. Like I would climb Kilimanjaro. That's in a way, I think after that, I felt it was the toughest like mentally and physical thing I've ever done. And coming out of that, I was like, I can do anything. Same thing with like Everest Base Camp, 3 passes. A lot of it is actually physical that is combined with mental, if that makes sense. That's what would spark it. And then translating into projects or business or whatever. If I can climb Kili, I can do that. If I can expose myself to like high altitude, this is easy. So
right, and it's so important. And we talk so much about connection, mind, body, and this is where I spend most of my time. It's to talk about how important it is that when you do hard things, like the name of this podcast should be "You Can Do Hard Things," because when you teach your body, when you do physical things that are difficult, your brain is learning. And then when you're thinking about something difficult, just because you embody it, it's like, oh, I could try this. And every problem has a solution. It might not be easy. It might not be right away. It might not be the solution that we want, but there's always a solution. And this is what you're sharing, is that I can't do this, it's fine. I'm not gonna have that money forever. I fail this, I'll do it again, and eventually I'll do it again. If I fail, I repeat. So it's really to not give up on the idea and find a different way. You know, when you want, there's a way.
Yeah, agree. And our three values, family values, is courage, compassion, and resourcefulness. So, well, playfulness and also resourcefulness. You got to be playful. You can't just be like, go, 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 too.
But it needs to have a good intention, a good feeling, and it's not just driven by fear or obligation or shame. It needs to be fun. Otherwise, we're not going to get there. Or we're going to get there, but we have no fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to start from a whole place, not like from a place of lack, from a place of abundance. I want to achieve this not because of... In the beginning, I was like that. I was lacking something. But now, it's not like that, and I'm not going to sacrifice my kids' time because I'm trying to achieve something. But anyway, yes, what you're talking about, I think I didn't think about that to name it that way, but when you embody hard things that you've pushed through, it's in your body physically knew it did it. It's great that I think you're right. It has the neural pathways already made from the physical activity to translate to mental activity, like business. So
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. And the body remembers. The body remembers, and it will become subconscious. You know, that it's why people work out, and it's the same thing with yoga, is that you practice certain things and it comes with a mindset. Okay, I'll just go again. Or I feel the pain in my legs because of the exercise that I just did. I feel the burn, I feel the build up and the tension in the legs, because you also work out a lot. You do Olympic lifting, and you know you're pretty serious in your own fitness. So your body knows that pain might not be a bad thing. It might be just a moment of transformation. Because subconscious, that when you're getting in front of a challenge, the first thing that comes to mind is not, oh, I'm in pain, or oh, it's uncomfortable, I need to get out of it. It's like, oh, okay, I'm pushing through something hard. What can I do to move forward? And you help high performer reclaim their time, energy, and clarity. So what do you think women, especially mothers, often get wrong about productivity, and how can they reframe that mindset?
Yeah, I would say probably there's two things I see in the moms I speak with. One is probably that they have to do everything themselves because it will be done right according to how they like it, you know, in terms of food for their kids or like laundry and groceries. They don't like other people picking out their groceries. Yeah, that is true. Sometimes I get like, just like 2 days ago, my milk I got was like gonna expire the next day. I didn't spend, it's fine, you know, we finished it, and the milk is still fine. I didn't spend an hour going to the grocery store. So I would say that's one thing, like in terms of like feeling they can't let go of control. They want to manage everything because otherwise it's not done right. Number two, thinking that productivity isn't just business or in their work. But I view productivity in terms of how productive or present am I with my kids? How productive am I present with my patients maybe, or my spouse? So there's different aspects of life and productivity. It's a whole life productivity, not just singularly in performance.
Would you think the productivity is often related with the idea of success, and success has a certain look? It has to look that way. Like, I'm a perfect mom, the grocery doesn't have expired milk. It comes with that pressure, what success means and what it looks like. Sometimes we have to let go of some aspect of it. Yeah, maybe that thing won't be done perfectly, but it's good enough, so then I can do all these other things.
I think a lot of times we have multiple definitions of strict criteria or definition of success that we can never reach.
Yeah. I feel guilty. I'm the same. I'm the same way. I like things to be done a certain way because for me it comes with also efficiency. It needs to be done that way, that way, that way. But eventually, then at the end of the day, you have no more energy for anything else because you're micro or macro controlling little environment. But what if instead of being 100% in each of them, and again, we don't talk about business or presentation, something that is really important, that's fine. But there's areas that doesn't necessarily need to be considered an area that needs to consider to have success. Like the grocery, the laundry, right? Things, not saying that they can be done fast, but maybe, is it that important? Really? Is it that important to the point that you lose energy, you damage relationship, and then you waste that precious energy and time for something else, and then you don't feel fulfilled or excited because like, I never have time for this. Yeah, but you never have time to go work out, but you did spend 3 hours folding the laundry and ironing the sheet a certain way while it could have been done in 30 minutes. I'm exaggerating, but you know, I've seen it all. Working with so many different crowds, but the most interesting, I would say, will be the astronauts, because not everybody works with astronauts. And you know the human body in and out very well in extreme environments. The body, the mind, and these individuals that are trained, what are the lessons that you learn from space that can also surprisingly be in translate in motherhood or just the daily life on Earth?
Well, I would say the easiest thing that it translates is checklists.
Okay. Some of us is gonna love that, and others will be like, "Oh no more checklists."
Well, as in a checklist, a standard checklist, like standard operating procedure. We have a standard operating procedure for all emergencies. We have flight rules for every scenario, so that when we're a flight controller, that we don't have to think when something happens. When this happens, this happens. When this happens, when this happens. So, like my checklist.
So it's a checklist, not a to-do list. I think that's important.
Yeah, it's a checklist.
Checklist, not to-do list. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have it on me right now, but my nannies, they have a checklist of the items listed by daily, and then items some bi-weekly or weekly, and they just have to go through it and check through it. So that's like a standard operating procedure. Also, we have checklists for the bags. The swim bag needs to have that. The travel bag needs to have this. Every time you go through, you check through the checklist. So that frees up mental bandwidth, and that everything is in writing, so that if you need recipes of like waffles, a recipe for my matcha, it's all like kind of like a checklist. I would say it's that type of thinking that translates very easily to household. That, I also have a packing checklist. So every time we go on a trip, so they already know, like, there's a whole checklist that they look at, and they know the trip, they know the trip length, they know the weather, and they know to pivot based on that information. But it's a standard checklist that gets updated based on how, my baby, as she progresses. But we don't ever have to worry about the packing, what to pack and what to, not things.
You rehearse a lot of situation in advance, and when there's a new situation, then it's a new checklist. It takes a lot of energy away of having to think, because a lot of things are repetitive. A lot of things are done over and over and over. So you came up with a strategy, a system that if this is happening, like there's a soccer practice followed by a swim lesson for these kids, whatever, this is the thing that needs to be in the bag, and it's talked about and it's written down. So there's no confusion, and it's easy to be there. So there's no that frustration. Oh, you forgot about this. I forgot about that. Oh, I had too much on my mind. I'm so sorry. It's right there. Just apply. We did it once. We put the effort once. Now just rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
How brilliant is this?
Yeah. Saturday, you pack this, or, Monday you change your sheets. This day and this day you're doing the floors. It's just like, so there is no decision fatigue, even for you or your nannies or your helper. Like the whole entire thing is to minimize decision fatigue, so you can free up the bandwidth for more creative things for yourself too. So that would say that would translate the most. And the last thing I would say is humility. Actually, a lot of the astronauts they're very humble. And, it's a whole entire ground team. Like there's a team and an expert for everything they're doing. There's a whole entire mission control to allow the success of the astronaut, one astronaut up there. Everything they're doing, there's a whole team. And I will say for moms, we don't build our mission control. We do it on our own. So now it's the time to build your mission control of people who can support you. So for example, I have virtual assistants, a chef who cooks and delivers to me twice a week, which, you can also meal prep and do that. It achieves the same effect. The nannies or house assistant to do my errands, etc. And people who deliver my groceries for me. So I know a lot of times you don't have the financial ability to do that. So sometimes you may have to think of creative ways and do bulk, so you have less frequency of things and you're not spending time.
And I think it's a really important point that you bring, and you mentioned it just before, but it's okay to ask for help or require help or find ways to get help. It could be through friendships, through family if it's available. It could be also through strangers. There's community. I mean, a lot of people were a little bit more creative during COVID. I remember having some neighbors, they were older, so two neighbors will go to the grocery and they will do grocery for two other houses because they didn't want them to go out. It's possible to find ways, find other mothers, other people that are in a similar situation and be like, I can provide this and you can provide that. How can we help each other? It doesn't have to be complicated, but it comes with removing a lot of that overbearing pressure desire on our shoulders. Going to the grocery 2 or 3 times a week because you keep forgetting things, that is not helpful. Being late somewhere because the bag was not ready, and that happened 2 or 3 times, or the kid is missing the practice because you get there late because the shoes were not packed. It sounds a little bit, I mean, I appreciate it, but I understand that some people will find it that, oh, that's a lot. She wants me to make a list for everything? She's crazy. Well, she's crazy, but she's not exhausted, because she made those decisions prior. And also it comes with try and error. Maybe you like, you know what, I forgot all of this. I know when we go to vacation, and depending if it's I called it the hot vacation and the cold vacation. So the hot vacation or more like beach. The cold vacation, it's where there's snow. One needs sunscreen, the other one also, but not the same. One is the face sunscreen so you don't get burned with the reflection of the sun on the snow, while the other one is like the full body sunscreen and you need rash guard and these things. You need to go to one of these places one day without it, get burned and be like, I can't forget this anymore. Also using the experience of other people can be helpful. Having this conversation and trying to find in a community, saying is we need a village, but you said you need
emission control.
Emission control. I will start saying that now because it's emission control. I want to go that direction and I need the help. While the village is great, but it feels a bit more like a support, so you need both, basically. And you've done a lot. What is the hardest thing, the hardest mission you did, and how did it change you as a mother or as a wife?
I feel the hardest. Well,
you have too many. You have too many?
The physical, I would say the physical is Kilimanjaro. Well, okay. The hardest was when I was trapped on top of Everest, not base camp, but one of the passes on base camp. I was trapped there overnight for 21 plus hours because we were dumb and didn't hire a guide and I was cheap. And the snowstorm came. And another thing to hire an advisor or mentor. But the snowstorm came. And we were like 100 meters from the top, and it obliterated the switchbacks, and we could not find the way up. And it was 1 p.m. We had to hunker down between 2 boulders. We stacked up our rocks to block the glacial wind, and then the backpacks to block the glacial wind. Put the sleeping bag over the rocks. We didn't have tents or anything really. It was then my now ex-boyfriend, at that time then boyfriend, squeezed into 2 boulders, and we were there from probably 3 or 4 p.m. until the following day at 10 a.m. So 20 plus hours. So I would say that was the hardest physical thing I've ever done, that to survive that with a little bit of cyanosis of blue lips and some lip ulcers and having to descend 6 hours down. But now it's like I learned to always we hired a guide right when we descended.
Yeah, hire a professional. Hire somebody that knows what they're doing. It's okay. You don't need to know everything. How was that challenging? Like you did you think I'm gonna die here? That was dumb and it's all my fault. That's not an accident, that's negligence. And I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna be part of these bodies on Everest. Good job, me.
I seriously thought I was gonna have frostbite because my feet were like getting numb in the shoes, and it was only until I put my feet in the sleeping bag and I was like, well, I even recorded a video to explain what happened in case somebody finds us.
Wow. Okay, so big learning here. Would you say it made you more humble too?
Oh,
You talked about that earlier, right? How
Yeah.
astronauts are humble, but also how they made you humble, that I made that mistake and I can make other ones. It's not the only one that I...
Don't be cheap.
Don't be cheap. Do you have another that was really hard, that really transformed you? Because that transformed you, I would say as a practitioner, but also just as yourself, right? It really was like a cornerstone in your personality and the way you do things. But do you have something that changed you as a mother or as a partner, as a wife?
Yeah. I would say it is maybe going through the newborn period, launching Productivity MD, doing this part time, at the same time doing some ER, shifts, like 2 to 4 shifts a month, physical shifts, and working at NASA full time. And I think that was the impetus of me hiring my first virtual assistant, because I felt like my identity as a high performer was gone after my child was born. I felt like I couldn't make any progress. I am no longer performing because my definition of success was in business at the time. After hiring my first virtual assistant, that's what set me free, to allow me to grow Productivity MD to 6 figures while working, doing it part-time and working full-time, at NASA. So
you did hire somebody to help. You ask for help. You look around, and I guess a lot of your mentors and people that you are looking up to, they have also assistant. And for them, when you ask, hey, how can I get out of that? I'm stuck. How do I get out of that hole? And they're like, but ask your assistant. And you're like, I don't have one. And they'll be like, what do you mean you don't have one? You do everything? This is why everything feels so difficult.
I think a lot of people feel like they're expensive, but you can even share an assistant with somebody or hire an assistant part-time. They start, if you go abroad, $5 an hour, maybe to expert level, like $10 an hour. And I would say even we found our live-in house assistant. She used to be an au pair before. We found her through a neighborhood Facebook. And now we provide living, we provide groceries, and she's $12 an hour for 2 kids.
Yeah, exactly. So again, ask. Yeah. There is options out there. It sounds, oh, not me, I can't afford it. Maybe not in the moment, but when you start looking around, there's 2 or 3 mothers that can afford it, then altogether you can. And it becomes a possibility. And that little freedom that it's going to give you, then you can multiply this. If you had 5 or 10 hours of freedom a week, what would you do with this? Where would you be at the end of the year? Awesome. We touched a little bit that concept of resilience, how important it is, and how it got you through all these adventure, but also all these certificates, but also through motherhood. Having 2 kids now, 2 young kids, the 3 and the 1. What is one of the core skill you think that you want to teach for your kids to be able to navigate this world with resilience? What would it be?
Yes, one of them is resilience, the courage to take action and to be able to pivot on the fly. Really though, I think the core skill, we talked about the EQ, but it's like the emotional intelligence of being able to see things as how they are and not react negative or positive towards it, to be as zen as possible. I'm talking about a lot of things, but maybe like to be able to feel joy within probably might be even the core thing, to feel abundant and not lack in scarcity, to be grateful. If you are grateful, if you have abundance, if you have those higher frequency emotions, then I feel like no matter who's around you or whatever situation is happening around you, that it will never take you down.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I think it's having an emotional home of joy, happiness, abundance. I don't know if that's a skill.
But it's the skill for navigating, because you bring the idea of resilience, and I think what you just described is kind of a state. How do we show up in that navigation? But the skill is to be able to pivot, because we all make mistakes. Especially as mother, as partners in our career, we make mistakes. Sometimes they're small, sometimes they're big. But no matter what, it's a mistake. If you knew, you would have done differently. So in this moment in time, you made that mistake. What's next? What can we do about it? How can we take that wisdom and act and take action, and maybe not fix it, but do something with it? Like, what's the next thing I can do as a person who made that mistake? What's next? Versus acting upon, because I feel that we have a lot of guilt and a lot of punishment. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, but you're still not doing anything about it. You're in a corner crying. I'm not saying crying isn't bad, but there's a lot of, I wish my situation was different. I wish my partner was different. I wish my parents were not the way they are. Whatever it is. And then that becomes the only thing you focus on. There's no flipping. Okay, my mom's not present. I didn't have support with my family when I had my 2 kids. And I wish I had, right? And then I have a neighbor who has their mom moving in. Well, that sucks. I mean, it sucks for me, which doesn't suck for them. But okay, I understand. You're right. And it sucks. And I wish I could give you something to help you. But being angry about it is not gonna make any difference. And if you can't pivot the way you say, this is how I feel, this is what happened, now what? Pivot, flip it, change it. It's really hard to move forward. And when we are able to take that energy, and when you say the evolution of these higher frequency, that's my love language, because everything you think, everything you say is a message that will just come out of you and will create what's coming, will create your relationship, will create the manifestation of things that are happening for you. So if you can get out of that pity party, even if you're right, your husband is not doing what he should be, you're right, but who does it help right now? Nobody. So flip it and change it.
Yeah, and if we, maybe it is a skill to practice, and I'm constantly doing that. I can catch myself the instant I turn negative. I gotta go to like 3 positive things that person has brought me, or something like that. You know, instead of finding what's wrong, going to what's right. I think an important thing that I recently learned, but to make sure my kids to always ask for what they want. Another, you can reword it to follow their dreams, but to never play small, to never be afraid to trust their gut and ask, instead of waiting for the right moment. Oh, it's not right time. I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. I don't know what's gonna happen. And trusting the gut, the intuition is something I'm always trying to, well, this is my current active thing, being more feminine, being more playful, trusting your gut, being more flowy. That is, I hope I can embody that. Well, I am in the progress of embodying that, and so I can show my kids to not be so left brain logistical too, but also be able to pivot, go with the flow, and be playful and trust your gut.
Right, and that goes both ways, right? Some people are more right-brained or left-brained, whatever it means, if you feel more artistic or more checklist and to-do list. It's to be able to have that flexibility, because there's a good time for anything. It's just that we get stuck in our patterns, and then we feel that we need to justify these patterns. I don't feel good because of all of this, and that becomes just what it is and who I am. While maybe not, as you say, a bit more gracious in that, the way you're interacting or the way you making still your true you, is just maybe a different flavor of it, and you kind of try them and see what works for you. You work in a very male dominated fields. How do you see the role of feminine intelligence, like intuition, softness, adaptability, as a source of real strength?
I'm actively working towards it, but yet, like, the divine feminine is crazy powerful, and if you can tap into that, my method right now is, I feel like in the ER, the most recent example, I would say, of me tapping into the feminine and going with the flow. You know, in the ER, if people have watched the show at the Pit, emotional roller coaster. I would say in one shift last week, I had a death, I had grief, I had patients get annoyed, I had patients get angry, I had patients yelling, I had psychotic patients, I had all these emotional roller coaster. There's 3 police cars outside, 4 police inside, right where I sit. 3 ambulance like stretchers lining up to get seen. And at that time, I caught my cortisol, my sympathetic getting ramped up. And I would say I've been doing a mantra where I command this ER. I go with the flow. This is like the wave of the ER, and I command this. I'm in control. It's like having equanimity where nothing affects you. Like, I try to be as zen as possible, no matter how loud it is, the alarms, the beeping, this world, like, it's going crazy, all these emotions around you. That's one way I am tapping into my femininity and feminine power. It's going, not being upset. And people used to, like, people still do, and I used to be upset, like, why are these ambulances coming? Why are all these patients coming? Why aren't they going to their primary care doctor? Or why are they using this ER for? Why are there 6 patients checking at the same time? Why don't they go to, like, urgent care? Just not even doing that. I don't want to lower myself to that lower frequency emotion of why. Take things as it is, go with the flow, and trust your gut that you're not alone and everything will be okay through your training.
Yeah, it feels a bit like, have you surfed before?
Once.
Mm-hmm. Once, or snowboard?
Once.
Okay. So let's keep the idea of the surfing, yourself going in the sea. So you're paddling, and then you turn your back to the ocean facing the beach, and you're waiting for that wave, that perfect wave so you can get up and ride it seamlessly and smoothly all the way back to shore. But sometimes the wave either doesn't come right away or come and is way bigger than you expected, or it comes, it's bigger, and then it brought some friends. And in the end, you are in control of your board. So you cannot just panic and just be like, oh no, it's not what I wanted. It's not the wave I wanted, right? It's not the way things should be, because you are in control of your board. So you could change the direction. You can take it more aggressively, more smoothly. But in the end, you're not controlling the ocean, but you're controlling your board. So what are you going to do about it? If it feels not safe, you get yourself out of it. But if it feels that it's just overwhelming and, maybe you're the one who's putting the wave, the quality of the wave, that's not what I wanted, and you start pouting about it, well, you're still not surfing. So what can you do with your board at that moment? And through the ER, through being a physician, you get so many different type of people at different time. It's not, I get a patient every hour. As you say, it can be 6 at the same time and 3 are hemorrhaging. So let's go. You have to do it.
I would say in the moment, the 4-7-8 breathing has been instrumental, but it's inhale 4 times, hold 7, and exhale 8, or any sort of exhaling longer than inhale have been instrumental whenever things start piling up, when the alarms are beeping, people are checking in, that like I can't catch up type of feeling. That has been like instrumental in calming down the sympathetic nerve.
Yeah, so a lot of the breath work is often recommended, you start your day, which I think is awesome, or at the end of the day to calm you down, or just in the preparation of a meditation. But what you're saying, and what I love, that if you can give us another example where you did that, is that you bring breath work or just that breath intention in the middle of the day. Right now, something is happening, you feel the pressure, either your throat get tight, you get pressure on your chest, you feel your hands being tight, I clench my jaw, shoulders are coming up, whatever you have, that physical response, you feel it, you feel the cortisol building in, and then you tell yourself, I'm gonna take an extra long exhale to take control back in my body. This is what you're saying. This is what you're doing.
Yeah, I would say like few other occasions other than, patients checking in, was another patient was like, within 5 minutes of meeting her, she's like, well, it's a seizure medicine. She's here for seizure, the medication refill. Like, it's in my chart. It's like, I'm just meeting you. It's like, I felt like I was getting triggered like half a second as she was talking.
Well, she was rude.
Yeah, I was like, it's like I'm supposed to know her within 5 minutes, which it's true. Like our charting system, our EMR is terrible and we don't get the whole history. So she has a right to be annoyed, but she was like outright, within 5 minutes of meeting her, that she was just like, I should know everything about her. Anyway, so I felt myself getting triggered for half a second. And as she was talking, I was like, oh, it's okay. I'm just getting to know you. I've only met you for 5 minutes. So tell me more, because I'm asking all these questions so that I can make sure I give you the right dose. But I think in the past, I would have been more defensive, probably, or I would have blocked it. I would have been like emotionless and not show any compassion or even try to explain why I was doing what. So.
Right. And it's not helping anybody to, again, this is what we said before, it's to that reactivity. Something comes and the first line of attack is dissociating, respond, aggression, or being, well, I'm the doctor, I know better. And it's not helping anybody, but it's not against you. She comes in the ER, obviously there's a situation, she's not good, she's scared, we don't know what's going on. Maybe she's seen 10 people in the past month and nobody's helping her. We don't know. Everybody comes with their own stories. So when they come with a load, we take it personal, we take it in us. Oh, it's about me. And as you say, we take that long breath, which give you just a little bit more time between the stimulus and the response. You're creating a little bit more of that bridge, so then you can show up as the doctor you want to be, and also as the human interaction that you want to create. There's so much power in that little pause. And it also, would you say it also help you make the flip? Because something happened, you take, and then it reminds you, yeah, I don't want this. Change, flip.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want this negative emotion. And I think another thing, like maybe this morning, my toddler didn't want to brush his teeth. I was like in a rush. I took a deep breath. Okay, you don't want to brush your teeth, so I'm gonna go on the ferry. So I hopped onto this carpet that we had in the bedroom. I was like, I'm going on the ferry. You're gonna come with me? So I went into like a more playful mode instead of like, oh, I used to just grab him, put him in front of the sink, and he'll cry and he won't want to open his mouth, and I had to force him to brush his teeth.
Yeah.
And then after we played on the ferry for a bit in the bedroom, after 10 minutes, he just like went up to brush his teeth.
And then you
No
did
fight.
everything else you needed to.
Kind of.
Better.
Without,
Better
yeah.
Better.
He was in the playful mood instead of like a crying mood. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's part of that rewiring. Now, I, unfortunately, especially, so my son is 10 and my daughter's 3 right now. We had a lot of, I don't want to admit it, but brushing the teeth while you're crying, because you're crying, your mouth is open, I'm just going to get it done. So I'm trying not to do that with my daughter. She's more delicate. Like, my son was a big dude. I mean, he's a big dude, so I didn't feel bad to just like grab him like a football and just brushing his teeth. She's more delicate, so I'm like, maybe I learned, so I do things differently. And he is reminding me, he's like, why are you negotiating with her? I had no negotiation. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, baby. Mommy made a mistake, and I'm learning. So we're having this conversation, that mommy was not emotionally regulated 10 years ago. I am so much better than now. Poor
I know, I
child.
was like, no patience. I just gotta get it done, right? Yeah.
I don't
we
have
don't take care of
time.
ourselves. Mm-hmm.
But no, because if I'm taking another 10 minutes to brush your teeth, I'll be late. I'm not going to brush my teeth. I'm not going to have my hair done. I'm going to look bad. And I'm a failure. So if I don't brush your teeth and you get a cavity, I'm a terrible mom. So I'm going to brush your teeth, even if you need to go to therapy and talk about it later. But that will be me being successful. But looking in a different direction, sometimes we're like, okay, not saying that we don't have to brush their teeth, but is there a way that we can just flip it so we don't come with this, like the Hulk? I have the Hulk in me, literally. And again, my son will be, Mommy, don't smash. I'm like, okay, I'm trying really hard. But if things trigger, I just come and make it happen. And it's terrifying. And I don't want that to be the default. I rather take that breath and that pause and be like, okay, I'm about to smash something. Let's go on the ferry, on the little carpet, pretend for a minute, and then everybody's happy and we brush our teeth without crisis. You mentioned we take them on a trip to regulate their nervous system, but at home we traumatize them because things are not moving fast enough. So the regulation of the nervous system is not just on trips. The teaching of trust, compassion, curiosity, it's not only on trips or traveling the world for a year. That is amazing, but it comes with the little things, right? My kids had traveled the world many, many times, even if they didn't, through books, stories, toys. What do you think the sound of a giraffe is? And you come up with all these things that their imagination is so vivid that you can take them anywhere, and that really forge who they become. And that little being it's a seed, that little plant that will become that huge tree. There's just so many ways that we can regulate them, but it all starts by regulating ourselves and then trying to impact them positively.
Yeah, no, that's a great point that you made. You don't do it just on travel or just on vacation, but it's super important in the little moments of slowing down and taking a breath. I think me coming back from an ER shift, I actually just had to get away. I had to stop feeling guilty that I'm not spending time with them for their bedtime routine. I felt like my patience was low. I didn't take a pause for myself to cut the energies away from the ER. And they were walking outside, and I just gotta go. And I went upstairs, listened to Brain.fm. I think it was like the recovery or whatever to de-stress. After like 15-20 minutes, I felt like I was at whole to actually be a mom, to switch the context again. And another occasion, I would say, for people who would feel like you have to come home and go, start prepping dinner, start doing this, start doing that. Just yesterday, I came home, I felt the need to do that, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna sit down on the floor and chill. And my daughter came up to me and my son came up to me. I'm just sitting here, I'm not doing anything, I'm just on the floor. That took about 5 minutes and I got up and prepped dinner, but that's okay.
Right, but
So-
the rest of the evening, that dinner and the rest of the evening, you unloaded a lot of that pressure. And again, like the going on retreats, yoga retreat, meditation retreat, you love them, I love them, but it's not always possible. We don't always have the budget. I don't have the child care. I don't have the time off, right? There's many reasons that we can't do it, but there's no reason that you cannot take that 1 minute, put a timer on, put 5 minutes and get your phone away, and just put it on the counter and be like, I'm laying on the floor. If you want to come and hug me, you can, but I'm not moving for 5 minutes. First of all, it becomes a game. Second, it creates such a space of calm and playful. And then when it beeps, you're like, okay, I'm done with my little laying on the floor pity party hug session. And hey, do you want to help me with the carrots or the potato, whatever it is? So it really helped make that shift emotionally and physically. And it will impact the rest of the afternoon, the rest of the evening, all the way to the bath time, all the way to story time, all the way to I want 5 glasses of water. I need to go to the bathroom because I drink too many glasses of water, and now you need to go back, and it's been 30 minutes that I'm trying to put you down the bed. That little 5 minutes in that moment will make a big difference between can you go to bed now versus go to bed, smash the door, or take a fight with the husband because he's sitting on the couch while you're on the couch, right? And then you start spiraling. So yeah, if we need to take something away from this podcast today, lay down on the floor, 5 minutes. It could change your life.
Shavasana any time of the day.
Yeah. Shavasana is so much more than just not doing anything. In fact, it's the most complete posture in yoga because it's the integration when everything stops moving and you are the center of attention, your center of attention, and you're integrating what's going on in my body, what are my thoughts, and there's nothing else going on. This is where you can really take a step and take a moment, be like, okay, when I'm going to get up, this is what I'm going to do. So Shavasana is the most important, definitely. So if you can Shavasana all the time, here and there, throughout the week, I think that's a really good advice. So I was about to ask you, my last question would be, what would be one of the things you would recommend to our new mom or mom that are a bit struggling with time? So besides doing Shavasana, do you have one more a little quick exercise or suggestion that they can take on right now?
Maybe the checklist is important. Everything they need to do repeatedly, having a checklist or something, the bag checklist or a travel checklist, maybe start there. Or if you do have somebody to help you make a checklist for them of standard must-do items. Permission to slow down, the Shavasana, but that's one tactic, the breathing. But I think it's just it's the mindset of it's okay to take a moment and not do anything, because I get into the habit of like the dishes, or like, this needs to be done, I need to assess the fridge or something, how are the kids doing, what are they always like planning the household. I'm like I plan and I delegate and people execute, but I'm always planning ahead. Just permission to slow down, not plan, permission to be playful, permission to be the playful parent.
Yeah, you're allowed to be the fun parent.
Yeah.
Be the fun parent sometimes.
Yeah. I would say that's the easiest thing to do right now, today, after this podcast, is to allow yourself some playfulness and pause and silence and stillness in life.
Yeah. And doing nothing doesn't mean you do nothing, because you're regulating yourself, and that's everything. It impacts your world and everybody's world around you. And thank you so much for all these wisdoms and sharing your incredible stories. I am extremely grateful. You are part of our mission. I'll repeat that for me.
Mission control.
You are part of the mission control team, and you're part of the village. So thank you so much. I know how much you have, how many things you have to do, and how busy you are. So this time was extremely precious. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Tanya. It was an honor. And we talked about so many things that I've learned a lot as well. Just even talking about my past kind of like put things together for me as well. So thank you. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode and that it inspired you on your motherhood and womanhood journey. Make sure to check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. Don't forget to subscribe and please share in the comment what resonated with you and pass this episode to a friend or family so we can grow our village together. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep rewiring yourself into the woman you know you're meant to become.